to Atlanta Live. We're Rick and Tanya Curren of Scaly Adventures, and we're excited to be with you guys this evening on this very special live broadcast. What's really cool about the audience tonight is that we have a bunch of young people here, specifically Boy Scouts. It's really cool to have those guys here with us this evening, and it's just great to see an opportunity where young people want to delve into something. They're actually here today, right, Tanya, because they want to work on their movie-making merit badge.
Yes, which is very cool.
Guys, I remember my first merit badge, too. It was called cave painting, so that was the one.
That was many moons ago.
You know, yeah, but it's so cool that, you know, it kind of goes in line with the theme of this evening about young people pursuing their passions and learning things you might be surprised they're learning, right?
Yes, it is. So this is a night, parents, if you want to gather your children around, this is a night to encourage you. We're talking about parenting and some topics that really matter to you. And in fact, we had asked on our social media channels for parents to send in comments and questions and topics of discussion that are relevant to them. So we've got them here in our clipboard, and we're going to be answering as many as we can throughout the show. So we really want to encourage and empower you. And students, if you're listening, just remember, this is a time for you also to just follow your dreams and pursue your passions and do what you were created to do. You know, that's the heart of our ministry. Tonight, you're also going to see our friends from Sand Hill Elementary School, and they came earlier today. So we were filming today for a behind-the-scenes field trip tour, and WATC's TV studios opened up their doors to them because they want to pursue careers in media or broadcasting, or they're interested in that field. And that's what's so exciting. This is an opportunity as parents. We have a gift, an opportunity to jump into our child's passions with them. And Pierce just turned 21, our son, but he was 2 yesterday. It was just like it was yesterday. Yeah. And so that's very important that you pay attention to what your child's spark is. When we found a snake in the yard many, many years ago, it was like a light bulb went off.
Oh, yeah.
And we paid attention to that because it's our job as parents to facilitate and to nurture our child's passions. And so we want to show you this next video. This video is called It's About Time. And we filmed this when Pierce was about 8 years old. We knew the importance of time then. What's really neat about this video is we waited until he was 18 years old to film the ending. So we had the ending, we had another man film, and then when Pierce turned 18, we refilmed the ending so it would be Pierce. So it's a tearjerker for me.
That should really remind you, it's true. They're here today and gone tomorrow. And you know, I used to tell Pierce for so long, I've only got 18 years to grow you into the man of God that you need to be. And after that, you know, you're kind of on your own. I become an advisor. I'm not really a parent, I'm an advisor now.
So watch this. This is called It's About Time.
Hey Mom and Dad, just wanted to tell you guys that you're the most important thing to me. I know around this time of year the kids get all excited about their toys and everything, presents, but there's one present that you can give me that I will love the most. It's your time. If you gave me the choice between a $20 bill and an hour of your time, I'd choose the hour of your time. Friends, things, they all come and go, but the time you spend with me will determine the man that I become. I know kids go through stages where we act like we're too cool to be with you, but keep trying. It shows that you love us. I'll never forget the days that we played ball together in the park, or when we read with each other. Those are what truly matter to me. Time is important to me. Remember that I love you, and before you know it,
I'll be gone.
Well, I guess it's back to me because that video always chokes Tanya up.
That's a tearjerker for me.
Yeah, you know what though? It's so true. I mean, I filmed that when Pierce was about 7 years old.
7, 8 years old.
And what's amazing is the young man that he became at the end of that video is exactly true. I mean, he went from being 8 years old to 18, and it just happened overnight. And you know, the cool thing is I'm really proud to say too that Pierce has since joined the United States military, specifically serving up at Fort Lee, Virginia, and he's learning to be a wheeled vehicle mechanic. So it's really a cool thing to actually watch your child grow up and become a successful member of society. And with any kind of luck, he wants to be a ranger within a year.
Yeah, it's very, very exciting. So treasure that time together. So we've got questions here, and of course now after you turn 45, you know, something happens with your eyes. So I have my beautiful readers. Let's talk about the first question here.
Okay.
This is from a parent. How can we encourage our children to focus more on the things that matter and less on material things or comparing themselves with others?
All right. Well, you know, I mean, Tanya, I think that really those are two different things. I think that focusing on material things, you know, when we were raising Pierce, I think one of the most important things to us was we always focused on accomplishments. Didn't mean you had to be successful at everything you did, but we took Pierce he went through his black belt, and then he went through academic achievements. He went through different things. But we try to always mirror that anybody can buy anything. You can buy a coffee cup, you can buy a watch, but not everybody can earn their Eagle Scout. Not everybody can, enter into Order of the Arrow or become academically, at the top of their peak. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I think for me, I know as we were raising Pierce, it was very important to jump into the things that mattered to him. So how do you help your child focus more on the things that matter? I think as parents, what we did was said, let's find things that matter to him. Yeah. And so for him, it was reptiles. It was dinosaurs when he was really little, but of course, reptiles were his thing.
Then he found out dinosaurs live in the yard, but they're smaller. So,
yeah. But, we focused on the things that mattered to him, and we talked about him. And interestingly, we were interviewed by somebody a couple of years ago. We were still in the struggle of things financially, because this was a leap of faith. This was a big leap of faith for us. When God called us into ministry, we put our money where our mouth was.
It was more like a skydive into faith.
It was a skydive into faith. We cashed in our 401k and we pushed it across the table all the way with our fingertips and went all in. It was a true faith walk. And when we were doing the interview, he was interviewing the three of us, and he said to Pierce, did you know your parents were struggling financially? And Pierce actually said no, he never knew. So we were able, it wasn't that we hid anything, it's just we always talked to him. I never used the words, we can't afford it. I actually never said that. I said, we can afford anything we want. We can get a Lamborghini today, we just won't have a house. Yeah. We just
hard to sleep in a Lamborghini.
We just won't eat. So I said, so we choose not to have a Lamborghini today because we choose to eat. We choose to do this. We would always say, we can afford anything we want. I would just put it in that context. And I think that's a really positive way to word things with your children. You have to be careful how you word things.
I think on the heels of that, though, the second part of the question is just as important. Yes. How do you keep your son or daughter from comparing themselves to other people? I think that begins at the very beginning when you start talking to your child and you impress upon them very early, you're made in the image of God, but you are uniquely made in the image of God. Yes. And there may be somebody who's richer or, at this point in life, better looking than you or, thinner or whatever, but it doesn't matter because God gave you that unique spark of life.
Absolutely.
And he said, Tanya, I want you to have a special gift inside of you.
Absolutely.
And your gift may be different than somebody else's.
We always call that putting your blinders on. So parents, we filmed with horses and they put blinders on the side of them so they don't get distracted and turn to the right or to the left. And so we always told Pierce, put your spiritual blinders on. Like, don't be comparing anyone else. It's kind of that concept of stay in your lane. This is what God has created for you. You're going to do amazing things. Don't look to the right or to the left and someone else and compare, because it will always look like someone has more than you or better than you, and then it will make yourself feel less than.
Life is the great equalizer. I mean, you may be going through a period of time where you're financially rolling and you're sick, or you're financially strapped, but you're healthy. Nobody is ever in a perfect place in life at that for very long. There's always something shifting.
It's always something moving.
Yeah.
Right. You might have enough money in the bank, but you might not feel good, or your parents might not be okay.
Exactly right.
Yeah, it's very important. If you're a student listening, don't compare your life to someone else. And we're going to talk about social media in a few minutes, but don't look at social media and think that someone else's life is perfect, because no one's life is perfect. You don't know all of the details behind the scenes. So yeah, that was a good question. How can you minimize the exposure of negative influences to your child?
Well, that's real easy, I think. For me and you, it's funny because in our country, you have restrictions on so many things. You have to be 21 before you could buy alcohol, 18 before you can buy cigarettes, 25 before you can rent a car. But we see people with kids that are 3 years old and 4 years old that have social media accounts. Right. And I would dare say that the nexus of probably 90% of a child's self-esteem issues come from Facebook. okay?
Or
come
Instagram or
from
TikTok, or,
Instagram.
yeah,
I meant
social
social media. I think, as parents, too, one of the ways is that we have a saying around our house, and that is that if you don't know who's influential in your child's life, then the chances are you are not. And it's important as parents, no matter how busy, how tired, whatever you are, to show an interest in your child's life. When they have a friend sleep over, listen at the door. When you hear them talking on the phone, listen on the phone. Mirror their social media page and do all those things, because you are the gate.
That first line of defense.
Yeah, you are that first line of defense. You are the gate that can stop them. And I don't care, I told Pierce, I said, I don't care if every single one of your friends has a social media, account. You won't until you're old enough. And we made him wait till he was about 16 or 17, didn't we?
He was 16 until he got his cell phone, and 17 until he was on social media, and he was not pleased with us for that.
That's okay. I'm not there to be his friend. I'm there to be his parent.
Exactly, and that's very, very important, I think. If we can encourage you as parents, be that parent. We know that you want to be their friend, and we love that close relationship. And obviously, we only have one child, but we took that role very, very seriously. And back to the negative influences, when he was younger, so we're talking even before he was on social media, we had, there was a boy he had spent the night with at his house, and
it was some bad habits.
It was some bad habits. And so we said, okay, from now on, we're going to be the house that everybody can come to, that your friends are welcome to come, because we can monitor that. I can control that. That is a great way. If you make your house welcoming and inviting, and you're watching what's going on, that way you know what's going on. And interestingly, we were talking about this earlier today. You said something, and I was like, oh my gosh, that's so true. Yeah. If you have a charismatic personality, you're like a magnet, which is beautiful and amazing and powerful and all the great things. But you have to be careful what you draw to you. Yeah. Because people are drawn towards magnets, even negative people.
Well, these kids here are a great example. They're leaders in Boy Scouts
our future leaders
and things like that. So you guys, you're going to exude this confidence that comes from everything you do, your merit badges, all the different things that you do. And guess what? Great people are going to be attracted to you, who want to be your friend and mentor you. And there are also going to be some people who are going to come, and they're just going to be attracted to you because, hey, you're the biggest guy in the room or whatever.
Exactly. So now let's switch gears and talk about this. We are so excited that WATC opened their doors to Sandhill Elementary students, our friends.
Hey.
So if you're watching tonight, hello, we love you guys. And we want to
watching.
Yeah, I hope you're watching. I hope you're watching, yes. And so we love your spark and your passion for media and how you came and learned today. We want to show you a little bit behind the scenes of this tour. So check out the students, and Rick's going to tell you about it.
Yeah, so this was really a great opportunity, and as they will show you the tape of the kids, these were kids that run their channel at their school, at their elementary school. And what's really cool about it is they had an opportunity to come here because WATC opened the doors and said, hey, you guys have a group of kids that are interested in learning to be the next broadcasters. Let's bring them in. So they had a great chance to sit, and we told them a little bit about how we started Scaly Adventures. And the funny thing about, our story was, for example, there was no Hollywood producers, no lawyers, none of that. It was just us doing it. And these kids right here, I told them, you guys have such a unique opportunity because you don't have to have a TV studio. If you learn the things that they do in this TV studio, you can become a superstar just off your cell phone. And so these young students had a chance to come in and see how a big production is. I got to say, Tanya, I was really impressed too, because their leadership and their teachers said that they are doing a lot of the same stuff they do here at the stations. They're doing the editing, mixing, the timing, and all of those things. And really, when you look at this type of video, I want you to understand this, that if your child expresses an interest in something, I don't care if it's basket weaving or broadcasting, find somebody who's in that field, if it's not you, and say, hey, can my son or daughter just see what it is that you do? So, for example, if you have a child who says, you know what, I want to be a veterinarian, then you know what? Then you say, fine. And you call around and to a few veterinarian places, unless you have one yourself, and you say, hey, my son or daughter is obsessed with being a veterinarian. Can they come in and shadow you for a particular period of time? And that's what these young people got an opportunity today, was they got to follow around a real vice president of a TV station. They got to get behind with the engineering. They got to see how you're putting on a TV show, and then they even got a little chance to be on the air as well. So it was really a great opportunity. So those Sandhill students are awesome.
Yes. We're so glad, and thank you, WATC, for that opportunity. So now we're going to answer another question. This is a great one. How do you deal with kids who don't like to lose?
Well, I don't like to lose either.
I know, and I don't like to lose either. Yeah, I understand.
I think 99% of everything that we do as parents is mirroring that behavior to our child. The first thing I think is you have to have a child that is immersed in so many things that losing, you have to teach your kid that in order to win, you have to lose sometimes.
True.
You know, the pro golfers who made the most amount of money, you know, they're the ones who put it out in the green more than anybody else. So, you know, there's always going to be somebody bigger, better, and badder than you are when it comes to something. But I think it's more important to teach your child when you lose. Okay, go back and do what I call an after-action review. So let's use an example. Suppose you guys are out and you're playing basketball against another team, right? And they beat you up. So you sit down afterwards and you go, okay, we lost big. How did we lose? And somebody who goes, and this will show you how much I know about sports. Somebody goes, well, I think we lost on rebounds. Okay, well, why? Because they got 6 and we didn't. And so what does that tell you? What do we need to focus on? We need to focus on rebounds so that the next time those cats come over here and play with us, we know we've got that thing that's going to help them.
Yeah, if you're a student listening, and listen, again, we don't like to lose either. We are born winners. We're born to win. We love to conquer. We totally get that. It's very important that you take those life lessons and channel it into strength, but also never let that loss define you.
Yeah.
I remember years ago, I heard a great sermon from someone, and she was talking about how something bad had happened to her, and she cried and cried and cried for days and lost all of these days.
Yeah.
And then she said, I'm never going to lose another one of my days.
Yeah.
So for me, that hit me because, you know, in 2004, I was in a coma. I was given 2 hours to live. So I should not be here. I almost died.
Yeah.
Life is very, very precious to me because God saved my life, and I fought very hard for my health. And so every day is precious to me. I'm not going to let anyone steal it. So I've had bad days since then, of course. We all do. But I will never let that define me, and I will never let a loss or a failure steal one of my days. My days are too precious. Your days are too precious. So do not let a loss from a sport make you lay on the floor and be so mad and cry. It's okay to cry and be bummed, but you stand back up and you do better the next time.
You know, there's a saying that we have on these little Velcro stickers that we give out to schools, and one of them is, when the plan isn't working, change the plan, but not your goal. Keep moving forward at all times.
Exactly. So now I want to talk to you about, you know, I know, again, some parents think that we're crazy with the snakes, but we're gonna pull out 2 snakes here and talk to you about one way we use them. Animals are a wonderful way for you to teach your children compassion, and also it helps them makes them a better parent. So Rick has Ginger.
Oh, 7 feet ever.
She is a Burmese python.
Yeah.
And I have Dooms. She is a Dumerel's ground boa constrictor.
That's right. You know, and how did we end up with snakes, you know, is an interesting thing. It really comes down to this. When I was mowing the yard one time, and I don't know why I was mowing the yard, but for some reason I was.
Pierce wasn't old enough. He was only 8.
Yeah, well, I found this snake in the yard. And, you know, the cool thing was I thought, I'll scoop it up in a bucket. I didn't know anything about snakes. And I took it, and I called Pierce, and I said, hey, Pierce, check this out. And he came out, and he was like, oh, man, that's a blah, 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 and it does this and that. And I said, whoa, check this out. So I told him he could keep it without consulting.
Right, that was interesting.
And what happened?
Oh, it was amazing. I mean, it was like this, that sparked that passion.
Yep.
And he researched it and learned about it. And then we went from 1 to, 2 to 12 to 30 in my house. So it grew and grew. Look, she's trying to anchor around the chair. She doesn't want to leave. But it was wonderful to watch our child thrive in something. And I knew this too, whether it's a cat or dog. And he grew up with dogs. Yeah. And I grew up with dogs. And then we had 3 cats as well. If you allow your child to have the responsibility of a pet, and it doesn't have to be a snake, it can be one that you like in your house. It teaches them responsibility, and I do believe it helps them become a better parent in the future, because Pierce learned a lot of compassion for animals. And even in their passing, he learned how to be very compassionate.
Yeah. And you know, the thing is, too, as I look out this evening, we have several Scoutmasters here. You know, most of these folks have probably worked an entirely long day, an entirely long week, but they come here, they put on a uniform, and they mirror to these young people what it is to be a responsible adult. And I just can't thank those folks enough, because the reason I'm holding a a Burmese python tonight is because I did exactly what you guys did, which was I said, oh, you're interested in that? Well, guess what? I'm interested in it as well. That's how I ended up with a black belt and 30 reptiles.
Exactly.
All the other stuff is I did everything with my kid.
Right. I have another question. My son's school calls and tells me how he behaves in class. I'm struggling with this because we don't see any of these behaviors at home.
Okay, so Here's the thing I would think of immediately is you were a teacher. You know, what did you think about when kids would act out in class but not at home?
You know, I would really encourage you. You know, I was a teacher in public and private schools before I homeschooled Pierce his whole life. So if you're not seeing it at the home, I would really highly encourage you to ask if you can go and do a sit-in. I mean, I know sometimes they're different, you know, right now with COVID protocols and things, but if you can sit in the class so that you can have an opportunity one afternoon or for an hour just to see, or also really talk with the teacher. Because we travel with our Scaly Adventures presentations all throughout the Southeast, we have many, many teacher and principal friends. These teachers are kind of experts on your kids because they've spent so much time with them during the day. So really listen to them. They are a valuable resource. And if just because you're not seeing it at home doesn't mean it's not happening in the classroom. Because a lot of times kids will act differently at home.
They will. And unfortunately, the schools have their hands tied a little bit now. I mean, back when I was a student, they put you in detention. I mean, they were just out of paddling. In fact, my father was an assistant principal.
And that's unheard of.
Yeah, he'd be hauled away in handcuffs now. But I think that some students, you know, might be afraid of mom or dad at home, but they think maybe the school is a toothless tiger and won't hurt them or do anything to punish them. And so sometimes it's that. But really, I think the best thing is to partner with your student's teacher and find out what are the ways that you can work in this at home. Because as we just talked to a school mental health administrator a few days ago, she told us those two magic words that they're all worried about now. Family engagement.
Right.
Yeah. They want you to be involved as a parent and mirror those things back. So if the teacher calls and says, Johnny is being, you know, nutty in my classroom, have a conversation with Johnny and then have a conversation with that teacher. And you've got to let them know that you're reinforcing those standards at home.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And then another question, this is from teacher friends of ours who have written in, how can I help my students learn what they need as far as sleep, meals, exercise, cleanliness when they don't have parents to teach them to be successful?
So for a teacher, I think the thing is you're a role model. I mean, unfortunately, in this day and age where fatherlessness is kind of rampant in our country, these teachers have taken on a slice of a role that's so much bigger than what they had signed up for when they were, you know, teaching or in student teaching. And so I think one of the biggest ways is to just mirror that behavior. And then the other thing is to have that, find out how you can funnel that student into activities that they're interested in.
Right, right. Yeah, you know, again, when I was in the classroom, and this was many years ago, again, because I homeschooled Pierce his whole life, but I had to talk about the basics with some of my kindergarten students because they weren't learning that at home. So I would encourage you just to talk about the basics in your classroom and again, and model that as well, as best as you can. But I want to thank all of my teacher and our principal friends. You are invaluable. Yes. We are so amazingly grateful for you, and we hear you. We know you are stressed out and burned out in many areas because this has been hard. Last year was hard, and I think we all thought it was going to change and shift. And actually, I've been hearing from almost all of my teacher friends that this year has been harder, and it's because we thought all the restrictions were going to lift, and it didn't. And so there's a lot of teacher burnout and stress. I want you to do some self-care, some self-love. Take care of yourself because you are pouring out and you are giving. But we are so amazingly thankful for you. We pray for you. We pray for your health and the health of your family. And what you're doing is a ministry. It is a true
I was going to say,
calling.
most teachers are actually missionaries. When you look at it, they go into an environment that's sometimes hostile and try to mold these people. And some kids, that's the most mentoring they're going to get all day.
Yeah, and you might be spending more time with them than their actual parents. So I really want you to hear us. We're grateful for you. We hear you. We see you. And we need you. Do not give up and be encouraged because we're very, very grateful for you. So now we have something that we filmed today with our Sandhill Elementary students. This is called an attitude of gratitude, and it's very important that you have that positive attitude and you're grateful in life. So check out this clip that we filmed with our friends. Okay, guys, it's so important to have a positive attitude in life. This is called the attitude of gratitude. When something happens to you, you can respond one of two ways, positively or negatively. So let's act this out. All right, Scaly Dad and I are two students. We're on the bus. We're on our way to school. Scaly Dad, I heard that it's going to rain today. But listen, don't be upset.
Rain? Wait
Yes.
a minute, wait. I'm wearing my new shoes. We're supposed to play outside today. Coach said I'm going to pitch. And you're telling me it's rain? Oh, that just ruins the whole day.
So listen, I have a new umbrella I'm super excited about. It's
well,
cute.
yay for you and your girly umbrella. I hate rain.
I know, but listen, it's good for the flowers. It's fine. We can watch movies. We can do something else.
Nope, man, the whole day is shot.
Oh,
Gosh.
I hate to hear that. Oh, man.
Fine.
Well, I'm going to have a good day. All right, so now we're going to get off the bus. We're going into school.
Okay.
Okay, so listen, I heard that we have a test today, but I'm ready. I'm ready.
Wait a minute. No. Nobody told me about a test. I always fail the test.
You do?
Every single time. You know, the teacher, she doesn't like me. That's why she makes me have a different test than everybody else. You know, the last time I studied for a test, I still failed.
Listen, I've been studying. I'm not sure if I'm going to get an A. I might not get an A+, but I've just been studying.
I'm going to get an F. I just know it.
Don't say that you're going to get a bad grade. I think that if you say if you're going to get a bad grade, you are. It's going to be worse.
No, it never works that way for me. I'm just not lucky.
Well,
I guess I'm just not that smart.
Well, you are smart. Do your best. Do your best on your test.
We'll see.
All right, so the test is over. Now we're going to lunch, okay? Scaly Dad, guess what?
Yeah.
I heard that they're going to have chicken today.
Chicken? No, chicken, no, that's it. This day is ruined. Do you know, I was living for pizza.
Well,
I love the way those old ladies make that pizza. It is delicious. They burn the crust a little bit and the cheese is just, it's perfect. And you're telling me we're gonna have chicken?
Yes.
No, I cannot take chicken. Chicken is horrible. Do you know what? This has been the worst day. It has rained, I've had a test, and now they tell me they're serving chicken? Are you kidding? This day is done, it's ruined. You know what? Tonight, my favorite TV show is gonna be coming on, and I won't probably make it because the bus is going to break down too. This day is terrible.
Is Scaly Dad being just a tad dramatic? So you see the difference. The same thing happened to us. It was raining. We had a test. That's happening. We were having chicken, not pizza. That was happening. But it's so important in life to be positive. You can respond one of two ways, and that changes the outcome of your day.
You're still going to have that day.
You're still going to have that day. So why not have a great day? So remember always to have an attitude of gratitude and live positively in your life.
So, folks, I really want you to pray for Tanya because she's married to me. That's how I am.
Rick is so dramatic. But I've got to tell you, the kids love it. I mean, and especially when we have like a huge auditorium of kids.
Well, I think in part you get to see how silly you are when you see somebody else doing what you may be doing.
And you can't change it. Like if they're having chicken, they're having chicken.
They're going to have chicken.
It doesn't matter how much you like pizza.
Right.
They're having chicken.
That's
so,
right.
yeah, I'll always make sure, students, don't let anything else define your day. You define your day.
Yeah, you choose the day you're going to have.
So we've got the Scaly friends that we put them away.
Yes, we did.
We've got another question. In single-parent families, what are some ways to make sure your child is exposed to healthy relationships and roles of the missing parent?
So I think we have an excellent example right here, right now, and that is, for example, the Boy Scouts, okay? Unfortunately, in our society today, like I said before, divorce is at an all-time high, and fatherlessness is at an all-time high. And I'll speak generally when I say that usually it's the mom that ends up with custody of the kids over the dad. But it doesn't matter because the formula is the same. There exists outside the door so many groups that can support you.
Yes.
The Boy Scouts, if any of these boys doesn't have a dad in the home, guess what? That Scoutmaster just became your part-time dad. Or suppose you have a daughter and, mom, how do I get them exposed to the opposite, the opposite sex in a positive role model? Well, it may be that, you put her in a type of activity where she can be around grown men that can mirror that fatherly behavior, or grown women for, the opposite side of the fence.
Yeah, and I will tell you this, I loved mentorships and internships for our son. So, even though there was two of us in the home, there was many things like Pierce, when he wanted to learn about blacksmithing, well, we know nothing about that. No. So we found someone who did. And we would always send him, whether it was a summer camp, a church camp, a co-op, anything we could where he could get opportunities for more things. He went to a veterinary's office to help clean out cages. So even though he's cleaning out poop, he was learning the basics. Yep. So I would just say put your child in any and every position to have positive mentors in their life. Because like for Pierce now, I know he's got people he can go to. One being an example is we call him Scaly Brother. It's Michael Vallone. Yeah. He is a producer here at Atlanta Live, and he's been our dear friend for years, and he's one of the ones who first put Scaly Adventures on the air. But he is someone that Pierce looks up to and he's friends with now. Yeah. He's been around for years, and so when you and I can't be enough, or we're not fulfilling that certain role, because let's face it, Rick and I can't fulfill every single need of Pierce's, and so I loved having other people he could go to.
Well, you know, I was a great example of that, you see, because from the age of about 11 till the age of about 15, my father had a high travel job.
You're right.
He was gone all the time.
Yeah.
So I remember Dwayne Ruggles was the name of my scoutmaster, and he was there with his hand on my shoulder during the week and said, hey man, if you ever need anything, you let me know. And you know, the great thing is maybe it's a neighbor, maybe it's a Boys and Girls Club, something, but there are people out there who have a vested interest in helping you produce that next great person in society.
Exactly. And this is a good question too. In a divorce, some parents are bitter and they speak badly about the other parent or degrade them when the child is around and present. Why is it important for parents to pay attention and not do this?
So I'll tell you, I think there's a couple of things. Number one, you may not like that spouse anymore. That's understandable, but regardless of what they did, that child is never going to get another father biologically. You know, when you're created, when you were born, there's no erasing that Philip Wiltshire married Dorothy Rusnak and created Tanya Curren. So, you know, you want to understand that that relationship that they're going to have is going to extend beyond when they're 13, 14. It's going to go into their 20s and 30s. And so I would just say, you know, yes, there are some people who do horrible things that make them get divorced, but really, we said it in the green room, you know, when you're bashing your spouse, you're trashing your kid, because that kid is going to develop an opinion about that parent.
I think, you know, as children, especially when they struggle with their identity, if you speak so negatively, even if you have a right to do so, something was done so wrong to you, so you're holding on to righteous anger, some things, you know, you were wronged. That was not their fault. And so it's very important that they don't see that anger from you towards them, because as they're developing their identity, remember, like you said, they are a product of you and who you created them with. So that's half of their identity. Yeah. And I've had very dear friends and family members who went through very bitter divorces. And I must say, I'm really, really proud of how they handled not speaking negatively about the other ones. So if you're a parent going through that, I would just, as hard as it is, and I have great compassion because I knew the situations of my dear friend and my family member who was going through it, just try to hold your tongue and share that with someone else and not model that in front of your child, you know. You know,
and 9 times out of 10, if that other person that was in the divorce is really bad, it's amazing. The child may not notice at 7, but they'll notice it at 17.
They'll remember. They'll remember what you're saying.
They'll remember the parent who did the heavy lifting, but they'll also remember the parent who was classy about it.
Right, exactly. And here's another question. How does being involved in programs like the Scouts impact and prepare kids for their future roles in their community?
You know, it's interesting because Boy Scouts exposes, you know, children to merit badges. I remember, like I said, I got my first one as cave painting, but we had rifle and shotgun, wilderness survival, computers. Well, maybe not that one, but we had a bunch of, there's probably a lot more. I think at one time when I was in, there were 118 merit badges you could get.
Wow.
But, you know, the point is what's amazing about it is the Boy Scouts is actually, used to be a feeder to the military. The Boy Scouts was invented by a guy named Lord Baden-Powell, who knew that, you know, young men in England and that needed to be molded and shaped and taken care of. And today the military looks for people who've got those kind of leadership skills. You're giving a child at a very early age an opportunity to be, you know, the patrol leader. I know some of you guys are maybe patrol leaders or assistant patrol leaders. Some of you guys are watching your Scoutmaster and saying, "Ma'am, I want to be that guy when I grow up someday."
Yeah, any opportunity as a parent that you can give your child to have a leadership role, go for it and do it. I mean, even down to Pierce, when we were going to church for a while, he was helping with the music ministry and running that soundboard back there because that was a little bit of an interest of his. So, because this just develops and hones their leadership skills. And again, you're putting more positive mentors and role models in their life.
And the final thing I think too is at a very early age, you learn not to let the rest of the team down. For example, when you're in Boy Scouts, if you're the guy who's in charge of getting the firewood and you don't get the firewood and it rains overnight, right? What happens in the morning? There ain't no fire. Who are they going to look at? They're going to look at you. So you have to learn very early on that your letting a team down when you're doing stuff like that.
Exactly. So now I want to show you this video. This is also very near and dear to our heart, and I'm sure it's going to make me tear up, but I'm so excited. We filmed earlier this week. This was actually the fastest we have filmed and produced a segment so that we could air on television tonight at Honeypath Elementary in Anderson School District 2 in South Carolina. So we want to thank them for welcoming us to film, and also the other students who are our friends who came to film. This spot is called Know Your Worth. So check it out, and then we're going to talk about it.
I am important. I am courageous. I am strong. I am irreplaceable.
I am valuable.
I am purposeful.
I am resilient.
You know,
That is huge to
Yeah.
me. That is huge. If you're watching this tonight and you are feeling bad about yourself, like you are worthless or useless or stupid or not good enough, I want you to erase all of that out of your mind. And I want you to remember you are strong, you are powerful, you are irreplaceable, you're resilient, you're valuable.
yeah. There's nothing more important than repeating back to yourself
Yes.
those words
Yes.
and saying, I am purposeful.
Yes.
Even if you're
Yes.
struggling with it, I am
Yes.
irreplaceable. And I think what's interesting is I like to tell young people this. You would never let somebody else talk to you the way you talk to yourself sometimes.
Right.
I mean, you can be your own worst enemy. So you've got to first change your mind from within. It's interesting. I found that negative people attract more negative people. And positive people, they attract people that are positive to them. So you've got to work on you and, you know, say those words every day.
Absolutely.
I'm resilient. I am purposeful. I am courageous. And I am
important.
strong.
And our world needs you. Repeat that over and over. Do not allow negative words to run into your head, because the more you think them, the more you will speak them, and that will direct your life. The more you say, I'm resilient, I am irreplaceable, I'm valuable in this world, you will never want to self-harm. You will not want to take drugs and alcohol. You will never want to do anything that removes you from this world. So thank you to those students who filmed that with us. I love that
I
message.
have to say, too, that it seems to me as though, you know, we have a bigger pandemic than COVID going on right now, and that's a pandemic of self-esteem.
Oh, yeah.
I've never seen young people so hard on themselves as I am seeing right now, and we're seeing, you know, youth suicides at the single-digit age now. And so we're trying so desperately to help you understand. Get out of your own head.
Yes.
Listen to what other people are saying about you.
Well, and that actually brings us to this one. Why should a child be shielded from exposure to social media?
Why should they be shielded from radiation, right?
This is huge. This is really, really huge. And parents, we highly recommend that you are monitoring, mirroring your child's social media pages that you're seeing, even down to the direct messages, because what's happening with our young people is people are posting such negative comments underneath their things, but they're also sending the private messages and the DMs that are telling them to harm themselves, and they're worthless, and it is really tearing down their self-esteem.
You know, it's interesting because when you and I went to school, there was no social media. If you and I had a problem, if you were a guy, when we might go out behind the school and settle it, or, you know, the parents would step in, but when the bus dropped me off at home, that was it. It was over. It was done. Nobody's picking on me. Here's the beautiful thing. If you have a problem with somebody on social media, the best thing you can do is just not be there. You know, the only way, you would never open the door to your house, invite someone into your living room and say, please throw your garbage all over my floor. But sometimes when you open your heart to what people say about you on Instagram, Facebook, or any of the other social media sites, you're literally allowing people to back a bulldozer up and dump the trash.
Yeah, and I will say, students, you may not love that I'm going to say this, but I'm going to say this to the parents. We had what I call the station. So Pierce would turn his phone in by the time he did have a phone. So we're talking 17 years old. And he would put it here at night. So that was not going in his room. So we were staying up until 12, 1 o'clock in the morning and just perusing social media. And also, we had him sign a contract. So we actually had a contract that was up that he signed that we taped to the inside of a door, and that was that we had access to it at all times. He never changed the password. We had the password. And that, you know, if students don't like that and they say that's an invasion of my privacy, we say, well, you're living in our home and these are our rules, and you are a minor child and these are our rules, and you're welcome to follow our rules, or you're welcome to not have social media or a phone. And that's how it wasn't perfect, but we negated a lot of problems because we were on top of it. We were very, very involved. So I would highly recommend you do that.
Well, you know, and in that same light, I think there's two things I would tell parents. Number one is you're not an elected official, okay? You're not running for a campaign to be mother next year. So your popularity score does not matter.
Yeah.
If you're actively parenting and you're actively protecting your child from things, they're gonna get mad at you.
And
they're
that's okay.
gonna
That
show
is your
their tail to
God-given
you.
right, and that's
but that's
important.
okay because you know from years of experience what's better for them and what isn't better for them.
Right. Right.
So.
Absolutely. And Al says this is a good question. How do we remind our children and make them understand that social media is just a glimpse of the lives of others and not reality at all times? Because people try to make it look like it's perfect reality.
Oh, listen, the only thing more fake than reality TV is what goes on Facebook.
Or Instagram or TikTok.
I mean, how many of you in here would want to post, for example, if you took a test and you failed it, would you post, hey, I made an F on my Spanish test today? No. So on social media, the only thing you're going to see is the good stuff. Nobody's going to post on there, hey, I stepped in dog mess today, and that messed up my favorite pair of shoes. We don't do that. Instead, we go, hey, today I went to Las Vegas, or I went to, you know, my dad bought me a car, or, oh, my favorite, we're so in love. We're so happy. Baby, I love you, Pookie. And they, oh, yes. And some people will use Facebook as their, I don't know, like their love tunnel, you know, that they're transferring things back and forth. But the point is you're only seeing the good stuff.
Right. And be really careful about this, too. One time, you know, we had a vacation. And so Pierce shared about that. And we were pretty proud about it. We loved it. It was a great vacation. We had a great time.
It was expensive, I know that.
But then he went online and saw someone else's vacation, and they went to Italy. Well, I think we went to somewhere like Myrtle Beach. You know, and so
the
he was
Italy
just,
of the South.
Oh yes, Myrtle Beach is the Italy of the South. But he was instantly bummed. It instantly took away from our vacation because he thought their vacation was better, and he was comparing his page to their page and our life to their lives. It's very important that you don't do that. And people use everything from filters. And listen, I love a good Photoshop filter. I am not going to lie, okay? At 48 years old, I will love a little filter. But a lot of people will make things look so perfect, and it's not like that in real life.
When you meet them in person, you're like, whoa.
Well, right. In fact, I always tell Rick, never Photoshop me so much, so when someone meets me in person, they're like,
recognize you.
I never want that. So we talked to students about ignoring the dream killers.
Oh, yeah.
And this morning, we got to film with Sand Hill Elementary students this concept. And I want you to see this because the toilet paper is going to represent comments under my social media post. This is a powerful message for students, so check it out.
You know, Tanya, being a parent today is kind of hard, don't you think?
Yeah.
I mean, one of the things is, you know, you got to teach your child, you know, look both ways before crossing the streets, don't talk to strangers, all kinds of things that you prepare them for.
Right.
But, you know, as I talk to young people, one of the things that I don't know that we teach our kids enough of is how to avoid a very dangerous group of people I call dream killers. That's probably one of the scariest things out there. And you know what? In fact, I'm going to demonstrate to you exactly what a dream killer is. Okay? So this is my tablet, okay? And we're online, and I'm on FaceNote or whatever, and you've made a post here.
I did make a post.
You made a post.
Yay.
Hey, look at this. It says, I just placed first in the science fair. And there's a picture of you standing right next to your school project, and you've got a trophy. And your project was making a self-warming snake hide that doesn't require electricity.
I think that's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool. As a snake owner, I love that.
Yeah, I'm pretty proud.
You should be proud. But hey, man, you've got a bunch of comments under here.
I do?
Yeah, you want to hear some of them?
I would love to hear the comments.
Awesome.
Are you kidding?
Because you
I
did
live
so
for
good.
those.
Yeah, you did so good. I'm sure all these comments will be perfect.
I
You ready?
hope so.
Okay, here's the first one.
Okay.
Wow, you're such a geek.
Oh.
Geek. Okay, well, that's all right. You could have picked something more important like global warming to study. Global warming. Huh, okay.
Okay.
How about this one? You only won because your mom works at the school. Is that true? Yeah, I didn't think your mom still worked at.
She does work there, but that's not why I won.
Well, maybe. How about, you know, this guy said, I was going to do that project, but you beat me to it.
Oh.
Oh, well,
I'm
you know,
sure.
ideas float through the air.
Right?
Nobody likes snakes. Now, that's not true.
Oh, I don't even know if that's true. But okay.
That's definitely not true.
Wow.
Okay, well, so what? My brother won last year.
Okay, well, good
I
for your
don't know
brother.
whose brother they, you know, hey, congratulations.
Okay.
Oh, this one. That's cool, but you know, scientists don't make a lot of money when they grow up.
Well,
Okay.
that's science.
Yeah. I heard you really came in second place.
I didn't.
But the trophy said first place.
Yeah.
I know, can't be right. Okay, is this true? It says you stole the idea from TikTok.
I didn't.
TikTok? No way. Somebody said there are bigger problems in the world than whether a snake has heat. Well, I don't know, not to the snake.
It's important to me.
Yeah.
Man, this is not feeling good.
Someone said science is lame.
I like
Lame?
science.
No, science is important, I think. This one's wrong. It says you're a nerd, but you can't be a geek and a nerd, so, you know, you got to pick one of these things. Okay, how about...
I was feeling pretty good at the beginning of this.
Yeah, well, you know, hey, that was a great post. No wonder you don't have any friends. You spend all your time in the science lab. I thought you had friends.
I thought I did.
I thought
I'm
you
not
did
feeling
too.
like it, though.
My friend, who's a reptile expert, said that this is a dumb idea and it will never work.
Wow.
Well, he's an expert. I mean, you know.
This is overwhelming.
Okay. It's not really a big deal until you win at the state level. Are you going to go to the state level, Tanya? What do you think?
Wow. Oh, man, I can't even carry all these.
No,
wow.
this is bad.
This is overwhelming.
This is good advice. You're going to have to work a lot harder if you want to get a college scholarship. I mean, you know. Someone said they hate science. How could you hate science? That was one of my favorite subjects. Okay. Oh, this is good. In my humble opinion, studying animals like mammals is much more interesting than studying reptiles.
Wow.
Well, that's a humbly opinion.
Wow.
Okay. How about this one? Somebody told me that your dad did all the work. Did your dad do all the work? I don't think so. I saw you working on it.
Oh, man.
You got all that?
I don't even think I can handle all this anymore. This is so overwhelming.
Hold on now. Someone said teacher's pet. Are you the teacher's pet, Tanya?
I didn't think I was.
You got all that? Okay, now. Man. Your post only has 3 likes. Ooh, painful. Wow.
I thought, wow.
Someone else said, I'd rather be an athlete and have people cheer for me than a geek in the science lab. Wow.
Gosh.
This one said, well, I was the homecoming winner this year, so no one really cares about what you did at the science fair.
Oh, man.
Oh, thank you there, partner.
I don't even hold all of this anymore. Oh. This is completely overwhelming.
So wait a minute. Now, you started out with a really nice post, and now people have just dumped all their feelings and their fears and their thoughts on you. Do you want to hold on to that?
No, it feels terrible.
Then you know what? You should just let it all go. Now, don't you feel better?
Yeah, a lot better.
You know, Tanya, the thing is that when you go and you do something, it may not be something that everybody else does. I'm not the greatest athlete in the world. You're very smart. But we all have different accomplishments. But oftentimes, I think that people will discourage other people because they will speak out of their own fears.
They do. They do.
They'll say something like, oh, I could never do that, or they'll belittle your accomplishment because a lot of people feel kind of like they haven't gotten feedback on theirs as well. So we just want to always encourage you guys out there that, you know, getting great comments on Facebook or Instagram or anything, that's all well and good, but you don't know these people, a lot of them, and whatever they're saying, it may not be pertinent to you.
That's right.
So just remember, avoid the dream killers because they're lurking everywhere. You know, I remember the first time I heard the word dream killers was a regional manager for Arby's came and spoke at our commencement graduation. And he said, you know, you guys sitting out there in your cap and gowns, he said, don't take a job just for the money. Don't marry someone just because they're pretty. Don't do this or don't do that. You've got to follow your passion.
Right.
But the problem is sometimes your passion may sound crazy to somebody else, you know? Hey, I want to grow up to be a concert cellist. And somebody else might go, well, you know, it's very difficult to ever get into the, you know. Well, not if you're talented, but it's your right to try. It is not their right to take it away from you.
That's right. That's right. So be very, very careful with social media. Ignore those dream killers. Yeah. We still have our YouTube channel for Scaly Adventures set to where we approve every comment before it's posted publicly. So parents just know that you can do that too once you're ready to have your your child on social media, because you have to be careful what people say, and we ignore those who are being negative, and we move on, right? We let it go.
Yes, that is correct.
All right, so another question. In what ways can we as parents encourage our children to be kind and to love everyone without losing who they are or being pulled into situations that aren't healthy or holy? And again, they put social media poses a huge problem.
Yeah, but you know, I think that comes down to, let's talk about bullying for a second.
Okay.
I have found, generally speaking, that people who bully other people, they have a very poor self-esteem of themselves.
Yeah.
They may be standing there telling you how great they are, but deep down they're terrified that you're going to find out how insecure they really are. And I think that the first step to doing, taking a child and giving them is to teach them confidence. In their home, in your home, that child needs to have a bright future, be strong, good-looking, all of those things, and you've got to pour that into them.
Yeah, and when we were raising Pierce, we would talk about, you're not answering to man, we're answering to God. So the reason that we're holding our tongue and we're choosing to be holy, or we're choosing to take the higher road, is because, again, we answer to a higher power, and we hold ourselves to a higher level and a higher standard. Doesn't mean you think yourself as elite or better than anyone. It's not that at all. It's just there's a lot of power in controlling your tongue. And so I think it's important, first, as parents, that we model that, that you don't sit at home and say everything that you're thinking or feel and blurt out anger and gossip in front of your children and let them see that. Yeah. That's very important. And then you hold them to that higher standard as well.
Yeah, I've often said when somebody has a newborn baby, I just look at it like a blank hard drive.
Yeah.
There's nothing on there except the fear of falling, right? They don't want to be dropped. So anger, hate, disappointment, self-doubt, all of that stuff is taught to you over the time of your life. And here's the thing, you have the ability as a person to turn that channel off and say, I choose not to listen to you because you're negative. I choose to listen to you because you're my friend and you support me and you help me do the things I need to do. But I really, really, again, go back to the garbage in the living room thing.
Absolutely.
Keep
well, it's
room
like
clean.
You said, like you wouldn't at night, we set our alarm, and lock the doors. We would not leave it wide open for a robber to come in. That would be crazy.
Yeah.
Why would you leave your heart and your mind wide open for garbage and negative people to come in? That makes absolute no sense.
Yeah.
We protect our home. You need to protect your mind and your heart. And interestingly, this just came to mind because this is something that I'm working on personally, even as an adult, is dealing with anxiety and how to control that because, I'm a control freak, shocker.
No.
I'm a type A person, shocker. So with that comes all these amazing, wonderful qualities, right, Rick?
Absolutely.
Yes, thank you. But it also comes, it can come anxiety because if I can't control something, that makes me nervous. And so I don't want that going forward into my later years in life. So I'm really focusing on that, and I didn't want to project that to my child. So you have to be objective about your personality and what you're radiating in your home and what energy you are putting out, and be objective.
If you're going to go lose your nut, maybe you should go out in the backyard behind the trees and lose your nut there, yell at the tree, do whatever you got to do. But remember you should, all the cameras in here have red lights on top. When your child walks in the room, that red light is on. They are recording. They are recording how you react to something. For example, Pierce, we were great about this. We trained him like a Navy SEAL. He'd fall down, he'd come back, his arm would be all bloody. We'd go, rub some dirt in it, you'll be fine. And, we weren't, come here, baby, let me get a tourniquet.
None of that.
Yeah.
None of that.
So what you model is what you get back.
That's right. Okay, so next, helping your child to cope as they age, and as the social media is mounting, and also that kind of goes in with another one too. Their students are recording fights and things around school and putting them on social media.
Well, I think the first thing is, we're
helping them to cope.
We're talking about social media again. I don't care if somebody clicks like on your page or they click that they want to be your friend. They're not your friend. Your friend is the person sitting to your left or to your right, the person that you can pick up the phone in the middle of the night and say, hey, my dog is sick and I'm so upset. Can I just talk to you? That is the kind of person that you really want to have in your life.
And also, I want to encourage you, if you're a young person, again, if your parent is letting you on social media, post the content that you love, the things that you love, and don't worry about anyone else. Build your own brand. So if it's animal pictures or photography pictures or your family, just have that as a legacy there on your page. But I also want to tell you this. Remember that your page isn't just your page. Interestingly, when Pierce was applying for colleges, they wanted to know every social media page that you have, and even if you think it's private, they will find it.
There's nothing private. Employers are the same way.
They will find it, and so will their employers. My best friend works at a company. Well, they will go through all of your social media pages before they hire you. So be careful. A picture that you post when you're 13 years old with your boyfriend or your girlfriend on the beach in your bathing suit, that's something that can be found 10 years later. Yeah. And I'm just really wanting you to understand the gravity because this didn't exist when we grew up. So, you know, unless you snapped a photograph and went down to Kmart, you know, and got it printed, Kmart doesn't even exist anymore. But, you know, there was no evidence of it. But now we take photographs and put on our social media page, and just because you delete it doesn't mean it was deleted. So we had an experience with this and our son, which we won't get into, but even a deleted post, people can screenshot and it can be saved and shared videos, images. Please remember that, students, because I think a lot of students don't understand the power of social media. It can be used for very great things and getting your brand and your message out there, and it can be used against you. So be careful with that.
I agree.
And that goes to this recording, and even this one, the next person that said bathrooms being trashed on TikTok. Let me just say this real quick.
Okay.
Because I know now
I'm confident
we could go for
we
could go for 2.5 more hours about this. Students, if you see a challenge, it's absolutely ridiculous, but it will harm you and your future. Do not do a challenge, whether it's to eat cinnamon or to destroy a bathroom, which is happening now. These challenges are only designed to hurt you and hurt your reputation. And the effort that they think is going to make you cool or get more likes, please ignore that, because it's really becoming a problem on social media.
Yeah, you know, usually the person who puts that challenge out there, number one, doesn't have the chips to do it themselves. And number two, sometimes people will just dare people to do stuff online. Just so they can have a laugh at you. Hey, why don't you eat a Tide Pod? I'm not dumb enough to do that, but maybe I can talk you into it. And so, you know, people, you know, when it comes to like vandalism of the bathroom and things like that, all I would have to say is this: don't ever walk into, if you're vandalizing your school, don't ever walk through the doors and talk about how bad that school is, because you're the one that's making it bad. And that goes for, when we were taking Taekwondo, the first night that school was open, remember somebody tore up our bathroom in that Taekwondo school. And the master was like, why would you be so weird as to tear up your own place? So, you know, you have a choice every day when you get up. You can make a positive difference in this world, or you can make a negative difference in this world. But I think that if you align yourself with people that are doing wrong, eventually you will be doing wrong.
And if you see something, you know, on social media that feels wrong, it is wrong. And you make a good point that really they will make you the object of their laughter. They will make a challenge to make you do it. They're not going to do it.
They're sitting around
and
laughing.
you can be prosecuted. You know, you can be prosecuted for damaging school property. And now it's even affecting all of the good students, because our teacher friends are saying that they're having to have passes where they can only like go to the restroom 4 times a quarter or something, because they can't have enough teachers to monitor the bathrooms because students are trying to steal the soap dispensers.
I know.
And so it's a foreign concept to me, but this is really happening in our world. So if you know that, we're big on, if you see something, say something. So you need to say something and tell your teachers or your principal, and don't fall in that trap with anything.
I think, Tanya, the biggest challenge that I could offer to young people is this: be the difference. Be the person that is the light. It is a lot harder, and this is the reason people bully and do the things they do. It's a lot harder to stand up for something righteous and be a good person than it is to just drift with the dirt bags, and you can fit right in with them. But to be a person of poise and grace, or reflect Jesus Christ in your everyday activities, you're going to get some challenge, but that's okay. You're a better person for it.
We want to remind you tonight to do what you were created to do. You know, as you saw in that Know Your Worth video, you are special, you are valuable, you are important, and our world needs you. Parents, keep doing what you do best. You know your kids, keep pouring your love and your light into them, because the seeds that you sow in their heart will have a massive, massive harvest. I promise, God promises, and we promise too. God bless you tonight, and thank you for all you do.
Thanks to all the people who sow into children's lives.
That's right.
Scoutmasters,
students, parents, come on up. We're going to have our
This is what you're working for right here.
All right, everybody, look at that light right there.
These young people right here,
Wave.
that's the future.
Yay! We're waving.